For him to come up and get hits and put his name in Major League history, in the record books, is why we love this game. It's why baseball is the best. One Royal Way back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Emergency Tuesday night podcast that I was not expecting to record, did not plan to. This is all just because the Royals pulled out a wild game in this first game of the series against the New York Mets. They win it 16-12, 31 runs scored in their last two games. And a wild back and forth game, a lot of storylines along with this, namely Tyler Tolbert, who tied a major league record tonight. Shout out to my producer, Nick Springer, behind the scenes here. When I texted him when the game was starting to get interesting, I think it was 11 or 12-9 during that seventh inning. I was like, hey, if the Royals pull this off, do you think we could record something? Like, we can hop on and do this? And he was like, yeah, well, let's do it. And I was waiting to see if they were going to get it done. Sure enough, they did. And these are two teams that now both sit at 38-54, both last in their division, not a lot to play for. And they put together an absolutely wild game. I mean, it was the baseball equivalent of mid-2010s Big 12, 55-52, who blinks first. And it turns out the Mets did in those late innings. Once they got Senga out, and they even got to Senga a little bit as well. In a bullpen type affair that the Mets pulled out. I mean, the Royals get it done. We'll talk about all of this. I'm just going to go through the full game recap here in the beginning, and then hit some of the storylines on the backside here. This show, as always, brought to you by Emprise Bank. Remember, FDIC, our partners in Possible here at Kansas City Sports Network. We can't thank them enough for their support over the last couple of years. And as for you guys, as always, if you're listening to this, like, rate, subscribe, review, hit those notification bells. And so that way, Emergency Pod popped up, right? And if you're seeing this right now, thank you very much for listening, watching, however you consume this. So this game really started inauspiciously with that first inning. Nothing doing in the first for the Royals with the opener. They get a couple on, but not able to do anything with it. Get two outs in the inning on a strikeout of Juan Soto and a strikeout of Francisco Lindor. Carson Bench comes up, hits a tapper to Seth Lugo, who then fires it into the damn near right field, past Caglione. And this is where kind of the young player makes a mistake. Instead of just eating it and running it in, he tries to fire the ball to third, gets by Lofton. Lofton picks it up, fires home, fires it by Jensen. 3 errors on one play, and it's a little league, basically T-ball, not even little league, a T-ball home run for Carson Bench, and it's 3-0. I mean, one of the most inexplicable, what is happening, did their brains just shut off type of play to begin the game. And I'm like, man, if this is how it's going to go tonight, like, what are we doing here? And I was prepared to, kind of have some stuff to talk about later this week of just how does that happen? To be fair, they end up bouncing back though. I mean, 2 outs, you get a Massey single, and then Tyler Tolbert comes up the second consecutive day and hits a 2-run home run, gets them right back into it. And then, of course, the Mets get 2 more on an E.J. Ewing home run. It's 5-2. Third, nothing doing in the third for either team. The Royals get right back in the game in the 4th inning with a Lane Thomas double, and it's 5-4. And they get right back, and then it's like, okay, hey, they're fighting back. You throw up a 0 here, who knows what can happen. Sure enough, Seth Lugo just did not have it today at all. It's 6 it ends up being a 9-4. It ends up being 9-4. They get a 4 spot in the inning. AJ Ewing single. Juan Soto hits his 20th home run of the year. It's 9-4 in the 4th. And you're just wondering, like, okay, how many runs is it going to take to have to get back in this game? Like, who knows? It could get really interesting here. The fifth inning, they get Kodai Senga out and they go to Austin Warren. And Austin Warren, along with one of his compadres there in that bullpen, tough outings. Their bullpen, if we think the Royals bullpen's tough, this was not a banner day for the New York Mets. Caglione double to start the inning, which I believe he hit 115 miles an hour. Yes. Nick Lofton gets hit by a pitch. Isaac Collins double, 9-5. Michael Massey double, 9-7. Tyler Tolbert comes up, infield single, another one. Carter Jensen walk. Huascar Brazaban comes in. Bobby Witt Jr. grounds into a force out, 9-8. Lane Thomas walks. Salvador Perez lawn dart ends up tying the game at 9. Right there in the fifth inning, nothing doing there for a little bit in the fifth and the sixth, 9-9. Both teams kind of settle in a little bit. Tyler Tolbert gets another hit, but nothing doing across in the fifth or in the sixth there for the Royals, and then the Royals just break it open against Matt Seelinger, who admittedly I'm not very familiar with, but all I know is he now has a 31.5 ERA. Not necessarily an ideal performance. I believe this was his first outing of the season. So welcome to the big leagues. You're going to get shelled by the Royals. It's a Lane Thomas walk. Salvador Perez nearly hits a home run. Doubles, 10-9. After a Caglione strikeout, Nick Lofton, 2-run homer. Just a bomb off a righty. 387 feet to right center. Gets out. Isaac Collins walks. Michael Massey walks. Tyler Tolbert, infield single. Once again, Carter Jensen walks, and it walks and runs, 13-9. Bobby hits into another force out, which makes it 14-9. Greenfield ground ball. And then Lane Thomas, who had a great day with 3 hits and 4 RBIs and 2 walks, hits another 2-run double, and it's 16-9. This game was 9-4 in the fourth inning, and the Royals at that point had scored 12 unanswered runs. They get a couple back off of John Schreiber and Matt Strom in the 7th and the 8th, but the Royals hold on and win this game 16-12. 16 runs on 19 hits, the 3 errors coming on that one play in the first inning. The Mets, 12 runs on 13 hits and no errors. The Mets go 5 for 11 with runners in scoring position, leave 6 on base. The Royals go 9 for 23 with 13 left on base. So they scored 16. It could have been way more. But I believe over the last 2 days, that is 20 for 43 with runners in scoring position over their last 2 games between Monday at home against the Phillies and then today against the New York Mets. There were 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 doubles by the Royals. You get 2 home runs by Tyler Tolbert and Nick Lofton. Would have loved to see the odds on that parlay. RBIs in this game from Isaac Collins, his 26th. Jensen, his 48th, which I believe leads the team. 2 from Nick Lofton to give him 29. Michael Massey has 31. Salvador Perez has 35. 4 for Lane Thomas gives him 29. Tyler Tolbert, 2, which gives him 5 on the year. And Bobby Witt Jr. gets 2 to give him 38. Just an absolutely insane game that, I mean, just one of the most wild games that we've had in baseball this year. And I'm sure it's going to lead in some capacity. You know, the morning shows, the highlights on Quick Pitch are going to be nuts. MLB Central, I'm sure, is going to talk about Tyler Tolbert, and I hope that they do. He deserves, the recognition for that, and I'll read off the stats for that here in a little bit. But I mean, just and also the pitching staff deserves a little bit of credit here too. Lugo got blown up. Talk about him later. But Lynch gives you an inning in the third scoreless. Schreiber gives up 2, but at that point you're just trying to get it. At that point it's 16-9. Like no reason to walk dudes. Just they got him hit. Beck Way comes in and gets out of that jam in 2/3 of an inning. He's starting to pitch pretty well lately. I'm still pretty intrigued by him. Strom was not great, admittedly, but he gets out of there fairly unscathed, only gives up 1. And then Ursa gets a 1-2-3 ninth inning. Didn't have to use Alex Lang. Didn't end up being a safe situation. and you get out of the game. Meanwhile, after Cionel Perez is the opener, Kodai Senga gives up 4 earned runs, 4 walks in 3 innings. Austin Warren gave up 5 runs and did not record an out. Huáscar Brazoban gives up. He essentially gave up most of those inherited runners with 2 walks, 2 strikeouts in 2 innings. Sealinger in 2 innings gives up 5 hits, 7 runs, 4 walks, and a home run. And then Minter in the 9th got 2 strikeouts. He was the only guy besides Perez to give up a scoreless inning. An absolutely wild box score. I hope that was at least entertaining to go back and relive how insane that game was. But I want to talk more about Tyler Tolbert. I want to talk about Seth Lugo, and we will do that here right after this.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Emprise because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity because you won't be disappointed and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
David Starnes Allstate Insurance is a proud partner of KC Sports Network, serving the Kansas City area and all throughout the Midwest. If you are looking for new coverage or something that better suits your home, auto, health, or any of your other insurance needs, give Dave and his team a call. Elevate your coverage and be worry-free with David Starnes Allstate Insurance.
Sure to like and subscribe, everybody. I hope you appreciate an emergency show after a wild Royals win, one of the wildest wins of the season. The offense really breaking out over these last handful of games. Won now 3 games in a row. So you got a winning streak on your hands with this one. Do want to, and so the 2 main storylines I think that come out of this thing for me are Seth Lugo and Tyler Tolbert for obviously incredibly different reasons. So I'm going to start with Lugo so we can end on the positive. That was what, Tyler Tolbert did. So Lugo tonight, the line, not pretty, 4 1/3, 9 hits, 9 runs. Only 6 of them earned because of there's like a weird scoring quirk that basically makes it not all those runs are not earned, even though his error directly led to the others. But I digress. He's still 9 runs come across, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. He gives up the 2 home runs. The ERA is now up to 4.56 on the year. And last handful of starts have not been great. So Seth Lugo signed his extension. It was essentially a 3 for 63 in Canada, 2 for 46 with the vesting option. Signed that on July 27th of last year. That was right in front of the trade deadline when it kind of looked like potentially, the Royals may trade him. And since he made his first start back on July 29th, since then, not including tonight, just simply because the numbers have not updated yet. I'll send an updated graphic tomorrow with those numbers updated. I tweeted out just some of the base numbers. But since he signed that extension in 24 starts, and that's 128 2/3 innings, he has a 5.25 ERA and a 5.06 FIP. 102 strikeouts to 52 walks. He's given up 22 home runs in those 128 innings. It has not been pretty at all since he signed that extension. Now, some of that was due to he had it was like a back thing last year. He only made 4 starts after he got hurt last year. So a lot of this has come this season. After he missed a little bit of time, and then his last start was on, it looks like August 29th. So he missed all of September. Came back this year and he had a couple of outings where it looked like the beginning of Seth Lugo figuring it out. The first 5 starts of the year, gets blown up by the Angels, and basically since then it's been pretty brutal. I'll get the number on that. So since that outing, since April 26th, again, not including the game tonight, it's a 5.68 ERA and a 5.05 FIP, 48 strikeouts to 20 walks in 65 innings, and 12 home runs given up in those 65 innings. He's given up 3 home runs to Minnesota. He's given up 7 home runs in his last 3 starts. I mean, it's one of those things where like hindsight is obviously playing a huge factor in paying Seth Lugo. At the time, I liked it because I was like, okay, even if there is some regression, I still think he is a good enough pitcher to still, combat some of the underlying numbers because he doesn't have a ton of velocity, not a big strikeout guy. Maybe he still had some workarounds with the way that he pitches, and with him not being a pitcher, not a thrower, maybe there were some workarounds. Clearly, the league has got some of this figured out, and he's also got there's some innings on his arm over the last 3 years. Through 206 innings that first year, which was shocking. I don't think anyone would have expected that. And he only throws 145 last year, a couple IL stints. He's been durable so far this year. He only missed the 1 start after he took the line drive off the head. But it just hasn't mattered. It's been a really rough go. It makes the contract look pretty rough right now when you're thinking about paying a guy $20+ million to have a 5-some-odd ERA. And for a team like the Yankees or a team like the Cubs or a team like the Dodgers or a team like the Padres, it's whatever. They're already paying him a lot of money. It's a rounding error. Who cares? Like, we'll figure it out. But in Kansas City, it can be damn near crippling to not have that, right? To have that type of money on your books and have that lack of production. You hope that he can get it turned around, but we got a 130 inning sample that I don't know if he will. And the numbers are going to look even worse than the ones I stated because he gave up 6 earned runs and 9 total tonight. Even if those 3 runs don't count against his earned run average, that's a really rough outing. And it's a good thing that the offense showed up, because if they got blasted 9-2, we're having a way different conversation. It's a little different considering that they won, but it doesn't change the fact Seth Lugo's been bad for basically almost a calendar year now. And, it's getting to the point where, like, who's taking on that contract? People talk about trade anyone that's not 7, 11, 14, and 22. Okay, great. Who's taking 67? Like, who would take on that contract? And if a team is willing to eat the contract because they need the depth, you're not getting anything in return because that team is going to want Kansas City to fork over some money, send them a check to help offset that cost. So you're not going to get anything back for Seth Lugo. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to hold on to him, but it puts you in a really tough position, and a position where I don't know what you do with him. You might just have to eat it. And that's a really rough position to be in, to have an aging, expensive, now declining player on your team when you already kind of have that, unfortunately, in Salvador Perez. Now, he's had a couple of great games in a row, but he just now gets over a 600 OPS, with what he's done the last 2 days. Barely. And he's like gotten over and then jump back down and then come over and jump back down. So it puts him in a really tough position when it comes to how they want to attack the offseason and what they want to try and do with Seth Lugo as we go forward. Because, listen, if he's durable next year and he hits that threshold for innings, that automatically triggers his option. He's here for another year. It's a really, really tough game to play with it, and I'll be curious how they decide to handle that. Now, on to more positive stuff. Tyler Tolbert tied a major league record tonight with hits in 12 consecutive plate appearances. Not at bats, plate appearances. Just for a guy to do that is simply unbelievable. Tied the major league record with Walt Dropo of the Detroit Tigers in 1952, who also did it. So that's the modern era. If you take it back to the live ball era, starting in 1900, Johnny Kling in 1902 also did it. So you're talking about, 120 some odd, 25 years of baseball history, 124, and it's Johnny Kling, Walt Dropo, and Tyler Tolbert with hits in 12 consecutive plate appearances. He also recorded back-to-back 5-hit games, which has only been done 3 times in Major League history, again, dating back to the live ball era in 1900. So this was done first in 1917 by Hy Myers, who played 14 years between, looks like the Brooklyn Superbas beginning. He did this in 1917 for the that was when he made his debut in 1909. In 1917, he did this for the Brooklyn Robins, predating the Brooklyn Dodgers, when he got 12 consecutive plate appearances, hits in 12 consecutive plate appearances. And that year, he hit 268 with a 643 OPS for said Brooklyn Robins. Just, you look back at this. Oh, the other name, just a guy named Roberto Clemente, one of the greatest baseball players of all time, that also recorded 5 consecutive 5-hit games. I think I said that wrong. I think I said Hy Myers got 12 consecutive play appearances. That is incorrect. I got too excited looking at Baseball Reference. Hy Myers had consecutive 5-hit games, and so did Roberto Clemente, and now Tyler Tolbert is on that list. He set the franchise record when he got his 10th, and then he did it 2 more times, had an opportunity to break the major league record and flared a fly ball out to right, but got a standing ovation. It sounded like from the crowd, right in Queens, those that stuck around, and obviously the Royals dugout. It's an incredible run of success. And he gets and 3 of them were infield singles, right? And that's where having 70, 80 speed, grade speed matters and can help you in having those kind of elite carrying tools that we talk about all the time. That's going to help you stay in the league. And for it to happen to Tyler Tolbert, I think is awesome. It would be one thing, like if Bobby did it, sure. No kidding, right? Like Bobby's one of the best players in the league. You have his name in baseball history. Like, yeah, that's great. Michael Garcia did it. That's awesome, right? But for it to be a guy that is 12th on your roster as a position player, a guy that is a utility player, doesn't get a lot of opportunities to hit. He's in there to play a few different positions, get some time against left-handed pitching, and pinch run for you, right? A very clearly defined niche role on a team. For him to come up and get hits and put his name in Major League history, in the record books, is why we love this game. It's why baseball is the best. Shout out to Sarah Langs. I should have hat-tipped her earlier. She had the stats that I read off here on this show. And she says it all the time. Baseball is the best. This is exhibit A of that. When you think about what we've seen, just an insane, like insanity type run that Tyler Tolbert is on. And you could see how much it meant, obviously, to him. He couldn't wipe the smile off his face because he knows, like, I'm going to tell my grandkids one day about this. I'm going to be able to say for the rest of my life, I did something that's only been done once or twice in the history of a 175, 150-year sport. It's awesome. And who knows where Tyler Tolbert's career goes from here? Who knows what else he does? But he's now a trivia question. Like he puts himself in this position where, I mean, we'll always kind of remember this stretch, for him and for the Royals. I think this is one of those things that will pop up in our minds, like, oh yeah, in like 10 years, like, oh yeah, remember when Tyler Tolbert did that? Like, it kind of falls into that category, and I'm enjoying it. I know people have talked about whether he should be, his role in the big leagues and all that stuff, but I hope that those folks are even able to kind of sit back and go, hey, how awesome was that? And it's certainly a well-deserved thing. Couldn't happen to a better guy. They talk about how much he's beloved in that clubhouse. And for it to happen for him, you could see in all those guys' faces how much it was, it meant to them to see that it happened to that guy, to their guy. So we don't get to do this super often on this show, just because of the way the season's gone, but I am going to toast game this, brought to you by Holiday Distillery. And this goes out to Tyler Tolbert for putting his name in the Major League Baseball record books, 12 consecutive plate appearances with a hit and back-to-back 5-hit games, only been done 3 times since at least 1900. Incredible run of success. Incredible game by the Royals. Appreciate you guys for listening to this. And we will talk this weekend. Come by Hangout Live Saturday afternoon, starting around 12:20. We will be live streaming the first round of the draft where the Royals have 2 picks, and then a live post-game show on Sunday to wrap up the first half. We'll talk soon, everybody. Take care. Have a great one.